This week's ChathamNC Sports Roundup. After a couple of weeks for Christmas break, New Year's, and a holiday celebration, we are back. I got Asheebo Rojas of the Chatham News and Record, and myself, Gene Galin of the Chatham Journal. Here's what we got on the agenda today. I have left one thing off of that. We're going to talk about Jakari Blues' great 100th win in high school wrestling last night. Asheebo was there, so he's going to give you a quick rundown. He's going to have a big article about it coming up in next week's Chatham News and Record, so you need to stay tuned for that. Right after that, the part that I left out is in the Christmas issue of the Chatham News and Record, we had the all-county football team, and Asheebo's going to go into how that team was compiled. He was involved with it. He reached out to coaches. Interesting thing, and it's out there. It came out in the Christmas issue, so we'll talk about that. A big honor for the folks that have made that all-star team. Then we'll go, of course, into basketball updates, the power rankings. Yes, we will continue with power rankings. We'll also talk about two recent Chatham County high school graduates, Drake Powell and Jaron Stevenson. They're doing okay out there outside of school. And then we'll talk about what's coming out in this week's Chatham News and Record that comes out today. Of course, everyone's favorite, Asheebo's Athlete of the Week. There was no Athlete of the Week last week, but there is an Athlete of the Week this week, so we'll talk about that. And we'll also remind you folks, you need to follow Asheebo on Asheebo R38 on X. Also, if anyone's interested, I'm looking for a sponsor for this ChathamNC Sports Roundup. So if you're a local person or a local business that wants to support this roundup, look, we get over 1,500 views a episode, so it's worth taking a look as to supporting what we're doing here. All right, let's get into, let's talk about, let me get rid of the graphic, and we will talk about, Asheebo will talk, not me, but Asheebo will talk about the nice big win for Jakari Blue last night. Asheebo, you were there. Tell folks what happened, and you gave us another angle before we started as to who's related to who. So give us the full roundup of what happened down in Northmore last night.
Yeah, so Jakari Blue got his 100th career win in wrestling. You guys know he was standout in football this past season and all his career, really. But especially in wrestling, he's two-time state tournament qualifier. And now he is the all-time – well, he's been the all-time wins leader for Jordan Matthews Wrestling, but now he is the school's first ever wrestler to reach 100 career wins. So big night. His whole family came out there. They had signs. The team was loud for him. It was also a big win for the team as well. They actually beat Northmore in that meet, 41-38. But yeah, Gene had mentioned he is related to Tobias Palmer. I think that's his uncle, and he was out there as well. If you guys remember him, football standout here in Chatham County, went on to play at NC State and at State in the NFL as well. So yeah, big night for Jordan Matthews Wrestling, big night for Jakari. And like I said, it was a big win for them. They actually got the win after Daniel Carter, the 285-pounder, got the win over Northmore's Jack Hussey. And they were down, I think, 35-38, and they had to get this one to win it. He got the pin in the first period, and they won the whole dual meet 41-38. So great night for Jordan Matthews. And I got to talk to Jakari as well and Coach Jimmy Long. And they're just so excited for that accomplishment. I know Jakari for himself, he's trying to get back to the state tournament this year. But as a team, I mean, it could be historic here for the team. They're knocking on the door of maybe getting a berth into the dual team playoffs, which would be the first time in school history as well. So excited, like you said, exciting things for Jordan Matthews Wrestling. The whole team just loud. There was a lot of great energy in the building for them. And yeah, excited to see what they do for the rest of the season, and excited to see where Jakari goes as an individual to end his high school career.
All right. Before we go on to talking about wrestling in other places, I was able to find these pictures. This was the courtesy of JM. Asheebo's got some pictures that will be next week's Chatham News and Record, so you need to pick that up. But here's Jakari and the coaches. They went ahead and made him 100 wins poster, so I'm sure he's going to hold on to that. That was neat. And then the other there were several pictures, and then the other one, what I thought was worthwhile, was he's out there with the rest of the team. It's great to see a local Chatham County student athlete do well. So Jakari, congratulations. Congratulations on your win. Congratulations to JM. As Asheebo said, there's a lot of potential for that team this year. And we'll talk about wrestling. Asheebo will talk about wrestling what's going on with the other teams. And there's also some tournaments, conference tournaments coming up, and then you have the state tournament coming up as well. So let me get rid of that picture and go back to Asheebo. So what else is going in the wrestling scene here in Chatham County, Asheebo?
Yeah, last night, Chatham Central had their senior night as well. And Gene, we were just talking about it. They brought back some of their state champions, Carson Joyce and Shelton Sells as well. And then Coach Joe Little, who's a legendary coach at Chatham Central for the wrestling program, was there as well last night. So, great to see those fellas back in the building. And then for Chatham Central at their tri-meet at home on senior night, they did fall to Central Carolina Academy in the first one, 54-30. But they beat the North Carolina Leadership Academy 36-30 to close out the night. So that's what went on at Chatham Central. And let me see, I might have some from our other schools. I'm not sure actually if Seaforth and Northwood wrestled last night. I know it's been kind of a rush with everything coming back.
Yeah, I know Northwood did not wrestle last night because I drove by there because I was hoping to make it out to Northmore.
But they wrestled Eastern Randolph, and they did fall in that one 50-24 last night. So Northwood and then Seaforth. Let me just get that up for you guys.
Yeah, I think Seaforth's got they're hosting the conference championship next week. Yeah, there's going to be a lot coming out on in wrestling. So yeah, come back and see us again next week. And again, follow Asheebo on X because he also puts out that information.
Yeah, I know. Actually, well, I don't know if it's a conference championship, but I know next week Seaforth will actually be hosting, I think, Northwood and Jordan Matthews in the meet as well. So that'll be pretty interesting to see. We'll get a lot of the county teams together all in one meet like we got used to the past 4 years, but we haven't seen, of course, this year with the new conferences. So that would be an interesting meet to go out and see, especially for Jordan Matthews. Like we said, they're trying to get some good wins. That was a good one last night over Northmore, but they're trying to get some more to get a better ranking and rank wrestlers and try to get that spot in the dual team playoffs as well. So, yeah, I think that's all the updates on wrestling so far since the new year.
Yeah, the only thing I was going to add to that is, folks, if you get an opportunity, if you got Northwood, JM, and Seaforth wrestling, even if they're in different conferences this year, that's definitely worth seeing because, again, it's more of it's a team sport, but there's individuals going up against each other, and it's fun to see those. Got plenty of space over at Seaforth, so if you have an opportunity, have an evening free, go out. Look, what are you going to do? Sit at home and watch reruns? Go out and see I love when we have multiple teams from our county competing against each other. So that's what's going on in wrestling. Now, where I messed up on the agenda, I did put it in, but I guess I didn't save it, is 2 weeks ago for your Christmas issue of the Chatham News and Record. Asheebo, why don't you tell us how you came up with the Chatham County All-Star Football team, how many members, and if you got the list, go through them. But why don't you start off on how this came about? Because the Chatham News and Record has done this in the past, but we haven't done this in the last couple of years. And Asheebo's the person that spearheaded getting this out there. So give folks a rundown of how this all started and where we landed up and who's on that team this year.
Yeah, so I heard a lot of people talk about, they want to see an all-county team come back to the paper. I know it's been a while since they've had one, and it was a great year to do it, right? We had 2 historic seasons with Jordan Matthews and Seaforth. Of course, we had great individual play around the county and all of our teams. So definitely wanted to highlight the players that had great seasons and give them some love in the paper after the season ended. So, of course, waited till the end of all football around the state and thought Christmas was a great time to drop it. And so I reached out to all the coaches in the county, asked them to provide me a list of who they would recommend for certain positions, and I gave them a set number of players per position. Coaches reached out to me, got it back, and I appreciate them for that as well. They were really excited to get that out, and looked at the stats from all the players, also considered just team success and the impact they had on team success as well, and put together 2 teams, a first team and a second team. And we also honored offensive, defensive, and overall players of the year in Chatham County. So just to give you a rundown of the list if you guys haven't seen it. So, Offensive Player of the Year this year went to Duncan Parker, the quarterback at Seaforth. Of course, like we said, led a historic season with the Seaforth offense and the team as a whole. Threw for over 2,500 yards, 2,604 to be exact, and 29 touchdowns. Uh, he also had 3 games with over 300 passing yards, including the 2 playoff games. And he also rushed for over 600 yards and 7 touchdowns on the ground as well. So great year for Duncan Parker as a junior. And then Defensive Player of the Year went to Gavin Williams, sophomore at Chatham Central. Put up some monster numbers this season for the Bears. Finished the year with 126 total tackles, 100 solos, included in that with 18 tackles for loss, 9 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, and an interception. So he was all over the place this season. And he had multiple tackles for loss in 6 of their 10 play games this season. So congrats to Gavin Williams of Chatham Central for Defensive Player of the Year. And then Chatham County Player of the Year overall, Nick Gregory at Seaforth, the senior, who did everything for Seaforth this season. Pretty much did anything necessary to help them win, right? He had 72 tackles, 26 solos, 13 passes defended, and 4 interceptions as a corner. And then on offense, he caught 38 passes for 753 yards and 11 touchdowns. And he also rushed for 6 scores as well. Then on special teams, right? Coach Tober Matthews, I want to say it was after the Northwood game. Excuse me, I can't remember which game, but he told us, hey, Nick Gregory is the best kick returner in the state of North Carolina. And he had a case for it, right? 11 kickoffs. He returned 11 kickoffs for 843 yards and 5 touchdowns this season. He also had a punt return touchdown as well. So, great season for Nick Gregory. And the rest of the first and second teams here. So, first team, offense. We have offense and defense for each team. So, offense here, first team. Duncan Parker is a quarterback. Running back, Jakari Blue. And at wide receivers, we have Max Hinchman, the C4 junior, Nolan Mitchell, the Jordan Matthews sophomore, Rajay Torres, Northwood junior, and then tight end Mason Pooley from C4. He's a sophomore. Offensive line, we have Max Hohenwater from Northwood, Connor Clark from Northwood, Cole Cedar from C4, and Josiah Terrain from Jordan Matthews. And offensive athlete for the first team is Nick Gregory. And then on defense, defensive line, Wilson Henshaw from Chatham Central, Mikael Wilson from Northwood, Deontay Smith from Jordan Matthews, Alejandro O'Reilly from C4. And then at the linebacker positions, Aiden Hohenwater from Northwood, Tyler Truesdale from C4, Gavin Williams from Chatham Central, and Nolan Griner from C4. And then at defensive back, we have Nick Gregory, C4, Noah Williams, C4, Rajay Torres from Northwood, and Namir Wiley from Jordan Matthews. And then our return specialist for the first team, of course, is Nick Gregory, and kicker is Leo Mortimer. And then second team, offense, quarterback, Grayson Cox from Northwood, running back, Tyler Congrove from Chatham Central, wide receivers, Patrick Miller from Seaford, Nick Armstrong from Northwood, and Hanse Ramirez from Chatham Central. And then tight end, we have Campbell Parks from Northwood. At offensive line, Jackson Green from Northwood, Kamori Fox from Jordan Matthews, Bryson White from Jordan Matthews, and Austin Ingram from Seaforth. An athlete for the second team offensive unit, Nicholas Glover from Chatham Central. And then defensive line, Ben Porter from Northwood, Dylan Watkins from Seaforth, Kieran Pooley from Seaforth, and Andrew Johnson from Chatham Central. Excuse me. Linebackers, Evan Miner from Seaforth, Leo Mortimer from Northwood, Omar Sanford from Jordan Matthews, and Douglas Lucas from Jordan Matthews. And defensive back, we have Grayson Cox from Northwood, Matthew Victorino from Jordan Matthews, Jaden Glover from Chatham Central, and Jude O'Neill from Seaforth. And our return specialist for the second team, Namir Wiley from Jordan Matthews, and the kicker, Jacob Winger from C4. And then we have honorable mention players as well that were also recommended by the coaches. Raiden Flowers from C4 at running back, Owen Murray, C4 offensive lineman, Robert Tripp, Northwood running back, Willie Boynton, Northwood defensive back, Kamari Hadley, Jordan Matthews quarterback, Uriah McSwain, Jordan Matthews defensive line, Jose Patino, Jordan Matthews defensive line, Brooks Albright, Chatham Central quarterback, George Gomez, Chatham Central offensive line, Jose Ava Ibarra, Chatham Central offensive line, Logan Robinson, Chatham Central defensive line, Bryson Austin, Chatham Central linebacker, and Savion Burnett, Chatham Central defensive back. So, yeah, a lot of names on there, but congrats to all the selections for the Chatham County All Football team, first, second, and honorable mention teams, and excited to see what these players do, whether it's on the next level or later in life, if they are seniors graduating and not planning on playing in college, and if they're coming back, excited to see what they do next season. So, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not surprised you had Nick Gregory up there on top because you and I have talked with him after several games, you more than me. But yeah, he's got, I think, what was it? You asked him about why does he do what he does? He's like, I just do whatever needs to be done to help the team win. And that's that kind of attitude that got him to where he needs to be. I do want to let folks know, for some reason, our YouTube connection is not working today. So we're out on Facebook today and we're out on X. I will get a download of the Facebook transmission and we'll load that up onto YouTube. And the reason I do that is because Facebook now erases live streams after 30 days. So this will be gone in 30 days. However, I've been posting videos for 17 years, and I want this to also, especially this episode, to also be available on YouTube. And this is going to be sounding like an old guy talking, but that's okay, because I have had players come up to me and say, hey, thanks for posting that stuff up there. So you know what? In 10, 20 years, if YouTube is still around and you're one of the folks on Asheebo's county top football team, all-star team, you know what? It'll be neat to show your kids the fact that you were that good when you were a student athlete here in Chatham County. So I will get this downloaded and we'll post that up on YouTube probably by this evening. Also want to thank all the folks that are currently watching. Most of you watch after we're live. I got Frank, Todd, Melissa, Sid, let's see, Pam, Kelly, Brent, Michelle, Rosita, a whole bunch of other folks. Again, I don't get to see everything, but I'm monitoring it. And thank you so much for watching it. And I will also let you know that Asheebo's done a great job. The fact that he's brought back the all-star team, that's fantastic. And the fact that he's doing this on top of what he does in the Chatham News and Record. All right. So anything else about football before we go on to what's going on in basketball?
No, we can go ahead and recap some of the basketball we got over the new year. You ready?
Go for it.
Yeah, so this past week we had a lot of games already this week to start the new year. So starting with the boys basketball side of things, Central Davidson beat Jordan Matthews last night 70-54, and Bishop McGinnis earlier in the week against Chatham Central got the best of the Bears in that one, 61-23. The Seaforth came out the new year with a win, 56-33 over Durham School of the Arts. And that's the Hawks' fourth win in a row. So they're on a winning streak and looking to keep that up tonight against Webb at 8 p.m. on the boys' side of things. And then Woods Charter, big win over the Hallbridge School, 59-28. And then Chatham Charter coming off of the SportsTone.net tournament with Jordan Matthews, of course, and we'll talk more about that later. Chatham Charter got a win over Central Carolina, 82-24. And in that one, Isaiah McSwain, dominant performance from him, 22 points and 11 rebounds. And then against Southwestern Randolph, though, Chatham Charter did fall 64-55 this week as well. And then just giving a rundown of our boys basketball power rankings. Now, these power rankings are from before this week, of course, and are after our holiday tournaments and things like that. So power rankings in this week's paper for boys basketball, we got Woods Charter coming in at 6, Chatham Charter at 5, Jordan Matthews at 4, Chatham Central at 3, Seaforth at 2, and Northwood at 1. Like I've been saying all year, I think with the boys power rankings, regardless of where you are, we haven't really seen any bad teams this season, and especially Woods Charter, even though they're at 6, well above 500 this season. They've been picking up some wins. Of course, we saw them play Seaforth, and they were neck and neck with Seaforth until the very end there. So 6 doesn't mean, you're a bad team or you're struggling this season. With boys and what we've seen this season, all these teams have played very well so far, especially in their non-conference play. And this is just where I think considering strength of schedule, of course, talent on these teams, this is just where we are right now. And of course, we're going to see more when these teams play each other, especially Woods and Chatham Charter, 5 and 6 spots there. They're going to play twice in a few weeks in the conference play. So we'll see some more things shake up. But that's what we have with the power rankings. Gene, you have any thoughts on the boys' power rankings?
Yeah, I was going to say, I would agree with the way you got the power rankings set up. And as you mentioned, there are teams going to be playing against each other because Northwood defeated Seaforth the first time. And I know, we're talking to Coach Berry that they're coming back to Seaforth's house for the second game. So that's going to be coming up. That should be another good game. And the thing is, even though they're all playing in the different conferences, it's still great to see county teams play against each other. And there's some good individual play out there. Northwood, right now I think they're number one, and I think Coach Berry and Seaforth will have a hard time knocking him down off of that number one perch. So, but again, we got still about half a season of basketball still to go. So, and again, here I'm going to pop this up because I mentioned that to somebody. Asheebo does post-game interviews with players and coaches, and I have had a second grandmother ask me how she can see her grandson's interview with Asheebo, and I told her in a nice way, you need to ask your grandson how to do that. It's not that difficult, but there it is on X, Asheebo R38. He's out at the games. He's not up in the press. Well, he sometimes stops in the press box, but he's primarily in the stands. And just keeps a good eye on this, and he's doing a great job doing this. So there you go. Just follow him on X if you want to keep up to, and that's on top of the stories he does in the print paper, and that's on top of this live stream. So yeah, I agree with your boys' power ranking. Do you want to get into the girls' power ranking?
Yeah, and on that as well, also want to add, I'm also on Facebook as well, Asheebo Rojas on Facebook. So I do post game interviews on there as well for people on Facebook to see. And the Asheebo Rojas account is my picture on there. So you see an Asheebo Rojas with a picture of an island and beautiful view of the beach. That's not me. That's my dad. So
wait a minute. I can't let that one go. That's your dad?
Yes, that's my dad's Facebook account. We have the same name and same thing. So yeah, there'll be two that comes up, and the one that's on there, that's me, is the one that has me in the profile picture. So
all right, but if you want to see beach pictures, you got to go to Asheebo's dad's Facebook site. But no, I'll create a caption so that folks are fully aware that they can find you both on Facebook, because for some players' grandmothers, Facebook may be easier to get on than X. So just kidding, Grandma. All right, let's move on.
Let's go into the girls' scores from this week as well. Central Davidson did beat Jordan Matthews last night as well, 46-27. And then Bishop McGinnis, really good girls basketball program, got the best of Chatham Central, 56-13. And then Chatham Central bounced back with a win over Triad Math, 62-25 this week as well. So they got that loss back off of them. They're still over 500 this season. And then Seaforth, they got another big win over Durham School of the Arts, another conference win, 68-31. So Seaforth has been looking pretty good so far under their new coach, Mike Zillman. And continue to roll through conference play there. And then Woods Charter, big win over the Harbridge School, 66-20. And then that one, Wesley Oliver, 18 points. Paige Apolito, 17 points as well. So big scoring night for the Wolves there. And then Chatham Charter, 52-9 win over Central Carolina Academy. Peyton York had 21 points in that one, but they fell to Southwestern Randolph after that win, 56-25 this week. And I think as far as girls basketball power rankings, let's do that before I talk about where I'll be at for basketball this week. But girls basketball power rankings, once again, like we said, after holiday tournaments before this week. So a lot of teams, some teams didn't play in the holiday tournament. Some teams did. We had Jordan Matthews and Chatham Charter. Like we said, boys and girls played in that SportsTone.net Christmas Invitational. And then we also had the First Bank Charger Classic before that as well. But power rankings and this week's paper for the girls, coming in at 6, Chatham Charter. At 5, Jordan Matthews. At 4, Woods Charter. At 3, Chatham Central. At 2, Northwood. And at number 1, we have Seaforth. So, Gene, what do you think about the girls' power rankings?
Definitely have to agree with you that on that power ranking setup. Yeah, Seaforth's up there on the top. They've got a bunch of players that came back. They only lost one player, I think, from last year. Northwood's behind them. The interesting thing is you were talking about the holiday tournaments. Northwood actually played in their tournament, and the girls' team only had 7 players because you mentioned you had the flu. I had the flu. They had a bunch of players that had that flu and were out, and they only had 7 players playing in that tournament. I think one night it was 7 players, the other night it was like 8. So that's really hit hard. The other thing too about Northwood, there is a Facebook page called I think it's County High School Sports or something like that. And what they do is they actually compile the statistics for the top 100 players in the state of North Carolina. And one of the statistics that they compile is having to do with 3-point shooting. I repost that on the Chatham Journal Facebook page, but I do want to mention that Aaliyah Roberts, who's on the Northwood girls basketball team, I think the last time I saw, she was like the 54th highest 3-point shooter in the state. So, and I know there was another player that excelled because they do it on 3-point shots, they do it on steals, they do it on points. And I know there was another Chatham, and I apologize, I'm having a brain freeze on it, but I do try to capture those when they're available and post them on the Chatham Journal Facebook page so folks are aware of it. So, yeah, I think your power rankings make sense. I mean, we're several weeks into the season, and I can't disagree with what you put out there. Do you want to get into your stories that you've got in the paper this week? Because we're going to talk about what because there's games today and tomorrow night, but we can get into that after we go through the stories you have in the paper and, of course, your athlete of the week. So what stories do you have coming out in the paper, this week's paper that comes out today on Thursday?
Yeah, so this week's paper, of course, we have our roundup of Winter Sports Roundup, but it's really just roundup of the SportsTone.net Christmas Invitational for both Jordan Matthews and Chatham Charter. And, of course, they did play each other both on the boys and girls side in that tournament as well. And you can read more about that in this week's paper. We have some top storylines, local storylines for sports, high school sports going into 2026. So you can read about some things to look out for, right? With Northwood basketball, they're trying to see how far they can go. I know they've taken more losses than usual to start the season this year, but they play some really good teams, and they're still trying to find their groove of what they're trying to do, especially through conference play now. And we'll see if they can make another deep playoff run. Of course, we're looking at Seaforth girls basketball as they go in conference play making the transition to a new head coach as well in the middle of the season. Also, 1A basketball, we got 3 teams to watch out for: Chatham Central, Woods Charter, and Chatham Charter, just seeing how they could where they fit, I guess, in the 1A playoffs and what they've been able to accomplish this season. All 3 of them actually pretty high in the RPI rankings for 1A. So interesting to see if they can play to that level of ranking and keep up some wins here through conference play as well. So, and a little bit of a look ahead into softball and baseball as well. So you can read more about some things to watch out for as we get into 2026. And then we also have a story from wrestling as well, top local wrestlers from the season's first half. So Jordan Miller from Seaforth, Harrison Compton from Seaforth, Carson Williams from Chatham Central, of course, Jakari Blue. Just highlighting some of the top wrestlers and that have been doing a lot of winning, boys and girls, before the turn of the new year, and also ones to look out for with playoffs coming up, right? Dual team playoffs will be coming up soon. Individual tournaments for state, regionals, all that will be coming up pretty soon as well. So just to give you guys a rundown of who to look for when that comes around. And then we also have a story on Seaforth. They landed at 4th in the first Wells Fargo Cup standings of the year. So after the fall season, they calculated some points and determined the standings. And Seaforth, like we said, 4th in the 5A standings. Of course, they've won back-to-back 2A Wells Fargo's Cup. So we'll see if they can make up some ground in the winter and spring seasons. See if they can make that 3 in a row. And then closing it out with Drake Powell, right? He made his first start for the Brooklyn Nets last week. So another NBA milestone for him. Got to start against the Rockets on January 1st. And in that game, he had 8 points, 1 assist, 1 steal, shot 3 for 9 for the field. And he continues to get a lot of minutes with the Nets these past couple of games. Even last night, had 19 minutes in that one, scored 2 points. Struggled a little bit from the floor, but the Nets were just right there, 1 point away from a win over the Magic. Of course, you guys saw it on Sports Center, and Paulo Banchero made the game-winning shot. And so little update on Drake Powell's career in the NBA. Also, like Gene, you wanted to mention Jaren Stevenson as well, too. 16 points in that game against SMU, his best game of the year. He's starting to come out of that shooting slump he had as well, especially from three-point land. So I think it was hit 3 for 4 from three-point land in that game, 5 for 6 from the floor, total shooting. So both of our two graduates that are out in the big leagues of the ACC and the NBA doing pretty well so far, and we'll see what they continue to do through the rest of the season.
Yeah, I think Coach Hubert after the SMU game had mentioned that Jared's got a huge talent stack, and I think talking to some of the sports writers who cover North Carolina in particular, they're like, you know what, Jaren has it. If he just gets a little bit more aggressive or a little bit more assertive, you can see more points from him. But he is getting, I think, on average, anywhere from 20 to 25 minutes because when he's out there, he's a great defensive player. And we saw that back in high school. We saw that in Alabama, and now he's doing over at UNC. So he started off the season as a starter for a lot of times, but now with Seth in there, he's coming in as a sub. However, he's still getting the same amount of minutes. So he's in there 20, 25 minutes, and he's a big asset to the team. And I hope that we get to see some more points coming out of him. They're playing this Saturday against Wake Forest at home at UNC. So, yeah, congratulations, Jaren and Drake. It's great to see some local guys doing well on both the ACC level and on the pro level. All right. Do you want to get into who your athlete of the week is?
Yeah, athlete of the week this week, we're going to Chatham Charter basketball once again, and it's going to be Braylon Harris from the Knights. And like we said, and that's Sports Tone on Christmas Invitational last week, had a pretty good showing in 2 of those games. He recorded 12 points, 5 rebounds, and 3 steals in a 50-17 win over Trinity. And then against Jordan Matthews, a 63-44 loss in that one. He was a bright spot for the Knights with 13 points and 8 rebounds. And as of Sunday, he's joining his fellow sophomore teammate Ryder Murphy and leading the team in scoring with 11.3 points per game. And he also leads the Knights in rebounds with 6.1 per game and blocks with 1.1. So sophomore making some big impact for Coach Jason Messier and Chatham Charter Knights. And so excited to see what he continues to do this season, what Chatham Charter continues to do, like we said, with 1A. It's going to be interesting to watch all the local teams in 1A as they fight for playoff spots and try to make a deep playoff run coming up in February and March. And so, of course, we get to see Chatham Charter play Woods Charter twice as well, still in the same conference. So excited to see what those teams, especially Braylon and Chatham Charter, can do throughout the rest of the year.
Yep, folks, got a lot of good high school basketball here in the county, so a lot of stuff coming, a lot of games coming up in the future. The other thing Asheebo has done in the past is, and I'm sure he'll continue to do this, as these players graduate from high school and move on to college, Asheebo keeps tabs on them to let folks know about that. I think you do that, about twice a year? You do it in the fall, and then you do another one in the spring. Is that right?
Yeah, try to do it maybe once or twice each season, actually, with fall, winter, and spring. Of course, we got a lot of athletes that graduated from here that played, of course, football, volleyball, and then in the winter, they swim, basketball, and then in the spring, we have some baseball, softball athletes as well. So try to keep up with them as much as we can and keep up with the accomplishments they're making. Like right now, basketball, Gabby White at Virginia, she's making some waves as a freshman as well. like we said, Jaron Stevenson up at UNC doing some good things. And then we have some other ones, Max Frazier at Central Connecticut, who was at Northwood as well, playing really good basketball for them. So, yeah, we'll keeping up with the collegiate athletes and professional ones as well. And, yeah, we like to do it multiple times throughout the year.
Yeah, I want to also toss in Fred Whitaker because he's playing at college level. However, he got injured, and the coach and he and his dad decided to put him on do a red shirt. But he was out there in the UNC. I got a picture of him out there, and his whole family was out there as well to watch that game. And look, you know what? Even though he's not playing for UNC, it's great to see how many people get to say, "Hey, I was on the court at UNC for a game." So, congratulations to Frederick over there. All right, what games are you going to be doing today or tomorrow?
Yeah, so I will be at Northwood tomorrow. They're going to be hosting Eastern Randolph for a conference game tomorrow night. So that'll be the basketball game I go to this week. Interesting to see how that one's going to go. See if Northwood can bounce back from the loss to Cardinal Gibbons in the First Bank Charger Classic. And yeah, I think also too, like we said, Seaforth is hosting Webb tonight in the conference game as well. I want to say we have some other games around the county. I think Chatham Central might be playing tonight. Let me check.
Yeah, I'll probably run over to Seaforth, and then tomorrow I'll probably run over to Northwood. Folks, I spend a little bit more time at Northwood because I'm also on the booster club at Northwood, so I've got some responsibilities there.
Chatham Central is at South Stokes tomorrow. So, yeah, we got 4 games tomorrow. Of course, it's Friday night, so it's going to be high school basketball all over the place. But, yeah, that's where I'll be, at Northwood for the games against Eastern Randolph.
All right. Anything else before we say bye to everybody?
No, I think we got everything covered. Like you said, a lot has gone on in this first week back from the new year. Of course, saw some more history be made last night, which is cool to see. And, yeah, we're just going to continue to keep tugging along through basketball season, keep updating you guys on the happenings with sports in Chatham County. Of course, like we said, playoff season for winter is going to start rolling in soon at the end of January and then into February as well. So excited for that and looking forward to another great year covering Chatham County sports. Hope everyone had a great Christmas and New Year. And if you guys see us out at the games, don't hesitate to say hello.
Yeah, I was going to say, don't hesitate to say hey to Asheebo because he's sitting out there in the crowd. And if you want to express your opinion, you're more than welcome to. Just be nice. All right. Oh, the other thing, again, just a reminder, for some reason, we did not go live on YouTube today. I will download this off of Facebook and then post it up on YouTube so it's there for years to come, hopefully. Facebook erases this after 30 days. So after 30 days, this will no longer be on Facebook. Thanks to everybody who's watching this live. And if you're not watching it live, that is fine too, because most of you choose not to watch it live because you got other things to do at 12 noon on Thursdays. All right. We'll see you next Thursday. Watch for Asheebo.